Welcome to the Love and All Sports podcast, where the land of love can get updates on not only Loveland sports, but learn and discuss many sports topics. Shoot any ideas you want to lovelandallsports@gmail.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook at the Love and All Sports Pod. Love and All Sports Pod is sponsored by Meredith DeWitt of Brittany Fritz Realty, Loveland's #1 boutique brokerage. Contact Meredith for any and all of your real estate needs at meredithbfteam@gmail.com. This episode, we visit with a Loveland legend, Coach Mike Dunlap. He grew up here, graduated from Loveland, came back to be a teacher, and our head varsity boys soccer coach for the past 17 years. He's a staple in our school and our community, and it was a great time getting to know Coach a lot more. Well, hello, Loveland. Sitting here on a rainy night in the land of love, sitting with Coach Mike Dunlap. A lot of people know Coach Dunlap. I've known of him for a long time. His daughter and my son are friends, but me being a football guy, him being a soccer guy, we've socialized a bit together, and you've taught at least one of my kids. You know? And so it's pretty cool to get to know you and sit down here and get the community to know a little bit about you as a teacher and a person and a coach. So,
well, I appreciate that. That's nice to have a little conversation.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate you getting sitting here with us. So, it's an easy question. We're from Cincinnati. Everybody asks where you're from. It's an easy answer for you because Loveland's home, right?
Yeah. Pretty much grew up here. Got here in 5th grade. Went to school here. Graduated from here. My parents still live in Loveland.
Nice.
My brother still lives in Loveland. His kids went through Loveland schools as well. It was important for us, because my wife is also a Loveland grad, to live here, stay here, and I was fortunate enough to be able to, get a teaching job here and coach here as well. And being an alumni of Loveland Soccer, I have a pretty vested interest in the program.
Yeah. What do you think about all this change down here as we're sitting here at Cappy's and you look around Loveland and it's bittersweet?
It is bittersweet. Obviously, when I grew up here, it wasn't quite like this, and there's a lot of people that say that, the change has been dramatic in terms of the amount of people, the traffic, parking.
Right.
But to be honest, that's that's why a community grows and evolves.
Yeah.
And I think that Loveland has done a pretty fantastic job of getting to where they are today.
Yeah.
It's a destination spot.
Yeah.
People want to come here, and to me that's important. So I've enjoyed it.
We always joke, 'cause we've been here 25 years, and we always joke that we do things at Loveland that we do on vacation.
That's
correct. Like, when the kids were little and we'd take the stroller thing with the rollerblades and Hilton Head, and we're like, well, we do that on the weekends here. And all the cool little spots, and like I said, we've been here 25 years. And, when you have a cool little community right on 275, it's going to grow.
It is.
I grew up in Meredith and I grew up in Sycamore. And Loveland was the sticks, back in the early 90s, late 80s.
That is
and
correct.
Now it's like, you're right on the beltway, so it's going to grow. But at least, like you said, it was going to grow, but at least they did it right.
Yeah,
so
I believe so.
That's awesome. So I've been here since 5th grade. So how long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching for 27 years now, and 25 of those have been here at Loveland.
All right.
Got my start as a long-term sub back in, I think, 2000.
Right.
And then the job opened, and I was, like I said, lucky enough to be hired back on and continue this journey.
Yeah. And then did you start coaching at Loveland right away?
I got my start coaching at Sycamore, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I did, and I think it was 2000, I believe.
All right.
And then I went on to Marymount. And then I came into Loveland as an assistant, took over for a few years, and then I did go to Mason. A friend of mine that I graduated with was the head coach at Mason.
Okay.
And I thought it was a good opportunity for me to learn and get with a sort of a different program to see how things were over there. And so that was a very good learning experience for me.
So how long have you been the head coach at Loveland?
I think I've been the head coach now for 17 years,
wow.
I do believe.
What a journey.
Yes, it's been fun. I always say to myself, I'll consider, my options at the end of the season on what I want to do, talk with my family. But overall, at the end of that conversation, it's always been, yeah, I'd like to come back.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you're a mainstay, so I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
What got you into soccer? Did you grow up playing?
Yeah, I did. Grew up playing. We started, the club soccer, the select soccer, as they called it back in the day. 1980, I think, was when the select started in Loveland. And I started playing then, and that's sort of where the love of the game kind of fell in. I was never a big player, never really a technical player.
Yep.
But I had some speed, and I hustled, and I played with a lot of heart, and that's what I find to be a true characteristic of it even today.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids are much more technical today, but the ones that, that really play with that heart and intensity, I have definitely a feeling for. I see that, and I'm like, that's a kid who wants to play.
So you mentioned your wife went to Loveland as well,
Yes.
graduated from here. And then you have Delaney, I know.
Yes,
and then
Delaney.
Other children? Or?
I have a stepson,
Okay.
Gina's son. He's 30, 32 or 33 at this point.
All right.
So yeah, I've definitely taken an interest in what he's done.
Yeah.
He also graduated from Loveland.
Okay.
Delaney is now 16 and a half, going to be 17 here soon.
Yep.
So, the changes, as you know, having one of the same age, are big changes.
Yep.
Driving, working, all those things. So it's been fun to see that evolve as well.
Yeah. Well, she's a great girl. It's been good watching her throughout ever since she was a little girl and I was here, and seeing what she does gymnastics-wise and what she's gone through. Man, she's an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you. I appreciate
it's cool to see. And I know a couple weeks ago, Charlie was over at your house doing a fire pit, but you weren't there because you were at the Widespread Panic concert.
I was. I had gone off to the Widespread Panic concert, and they did have their little pre-school party at the house, which it's been an annual event for the last several years.
Right.
And I wasn't there, and I was kind of sorry I missed it. I was kind of hoping it was going to be Sunday, which was the original plan, because I would have liked to have been there for that.
Well, you'd be proud. Charlie's a rock and roll old school fan. And so when you and I were trying to get this scheduled, he said, Coach Dunlap wasn't at his house because you'll love this, Dad. He was at the Widespread Panic concert. So I thought that was right up my alley, too, for being a alternative jam band, 80s, 90s guy. So let's talk a little sports. So what is your favorite part of coaching? Why did you get into coaching?
I think I got into coaching more or less because, number one, I did love the sport. I think getting into coaching when I did and have seen myself kind of progress over the years. Coaching for me early on was, I wanted to coach the game because I really enjoyed the game. I think the X's and the O's of the game, a lot of people say, well, you're just dribbling a ball around out there, but there's a lot of tactics that are involved. And I kind of want to learn more about that. And so it really gave me a chance to get a little more education in the game through my licenses and things like that. But as I've grown into the coach that I am at this point in my career, I think it's just more about being with the kids. Yeah. The kids, I think, are an inspiration for me. I enjoy working with them every day. I've got great kids. I've always had really good kids to work with. And for me, as a teacher / coach, the role modeling and seeing those kids come in as freshmen with little squeaky voices and then seeing them graduate as men has always been something that I really enjoy.
Yeah. Now, you played a little bit in college?
I did play a little bit in college. Yeah, I did. I went to Wilmington. I just don't think 100% that I was necessarily ready for college. I think I still was trying to find out exactly who I was at that point in time.
Yeah. We all were, right?
Yeah. So, I went to Wilmington, and I think that's where I really started to kind of learn the game, because we had a team that was built around a lot of foreign kids who went to Wilmington. That's a whole different game. And being able to play with them, and I sat the bench, my freshman and sophomore year as a varsity bench player.
Right.
JV they had, which was fine. But just sitting there and watching the coaching going on and watching the way the play is supposed to work, I think was pretty interesting to me. And I think I learned a ton
Yeah.
just in those 2 or 3 years of playing at Wilmington, that kind of even led me further and further into that point where I said I wanted to coach.
Yeah, I wonder if you hadn't gone through that experience, you might not have coached.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But like I said, the college experience at Wilmington, we played some really good teams. We had a very good team, and it was a lot of fun.
That's
it
great.
was.
So, are you a FC fan? FC Cincinnati?
Oh yeah, definitely
So,
an FC fan.
When you're sitting watching an FC game, are you able to be a fan, or do you sit there and pull your phone out and take notes? And
I think it varies. I think most of the time I'm a fan, because the Saturday night games, you're kind of just sitting around, you're enjoying yourself, and you're just watching the game. So I really feel like I'm more of a fan to FC. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of times where I'm sitting there watching what's going on out there, and I'm thinking, that's a great idea. If I could get my guys to do things like that, that would be awesome.
Right.
But I think overall, it's just fandom.
Good.
Watching the game.
Because you deserve a break. I mean, you do it 6-7 days a week. You got 2-3 games a week. It's nice to be able to be a fan and not sit there. And they're such a different level. It's tough to say.
Correct.
Well, that would be cool if we could do that, but I don't know if we can implement it. Right.
Correct.
What's the most fun part about being a head coach?
I think
you mentioned the kids.
Yeah, I think that to me, it's never really being able to grow up myself, having that struggle with maturity and growing up and getting older. I think just being around them, and being able to joke around with them, and teach them and see that, I've got really coachable kids. I've always had very coachable kids, and the way they listen and the way they take to what we talk about. Sometimes it's successful and sometimes it's not. Mm-hmm. But I think, again, as a coach, you got to sit back and you got to look at what's good and what's not. And you got to try to continue to tinker with your game. And to me, that's been the funnest part, is just tinkering with the game. Yeah. I think we try to do a little bit something different every game we play based on who we're playing. I think that's a standard for a lot of coaches.
Right.
So I think for me to sit down with my assistant coaches and talk strategy and try to implement that strategy, and obviously when it's successful, it's kind of cool. Yeah. When it's not, okay, all right, let's go back and try to figure something else out.
Well, soccer is such a unique sport that it's so the fundamentals of soccer are very, very basic, but that's where you have to be a differentiator by what you do with your strategy.
That's correct.
And I mean, I played it when I was 5 years old, and then learned about, and then I got big and realized what this thing called football was. Mm-hmm. But with all of my kids' friends, and then I work with a guy that played professionally for Coventry, so he's turning me into a little bit of a fan. Yeah, he's from England, so and his kids are at East, so you'll be playing the Culligan kids. Coming up here, and you play East?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. So his one son's a sophomore on varsity, and then his older son's now playing at Wittenberg. The other W. So he's taught me a lot about it, where it's like, all right, if a game's going to be 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, it's not about winning 49-42.
No.
It's not about a kid hitting a homer with 2 men on.
Correct.
So it's so much about strategy. So I've begrudgingly become more of a soccer fan.
Okay.
And I can learn and watch it and understand it a little better since I've been learning. So it's pretty cool. All right, let's keep getting to know you, but let's have some fun. You have entered what is called Josh's Smoking Seat.
Okay.
So I got 10 questions. I'm just going to rapid fire.
All right.
Skyline or Gold Star?
Skyline.
Okay. LeBron or Jordan?
Jordan.
All right, I'm a football guy, so I got to ask this. Did you stay on the Bengals bus for 31 years of no playoff wins?
To be honest with you, I was off the Bengals bus probably about the time Mike Brown took over the team.
Okay.
I just have seen that, and it continues to this day, and I struggle with that.
I got off the bus in 16
for
the same reasons. I got back on the bus when they won a playoff game. So fair enough. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
A hot dog is not a sandwich.
That's good one for you. What was your first concert?
My first concert was Pink Floyd.
Oh, that's a great one.
The original back in 1980, maybe before it all kind of came apart. Yeah. And that was my first concert. And that was pretty good experience for me.
Yeah, I was the Cars.
The Cars? Okay, yes.
Yeah, that was Rico
Kasich and the boys.
All right, this is a conundrum here. When you make cereal, do you put the milk in the bowl first or the cereal first?
I'm a cereal first guy.
Try milk first.
Is it?
If you like crunchy cereal, your cereal will float on top of the milk.
I will try that. That's
People
something new
fight
to me.
to the death. My kids hate me for this, but if you like crunchy cereal, put your milk first, then your cereal will float.
Okay, and I do like crunchy cereal.
All right.
I'm open to that.
When you make a peanut butter and jelly, do you put peanut butter on one piece of bread or both?
I put peanut butter on one slice of bread.
All right. And if money's no object, what sporting event would you like to attend?
I'd like to attend a World Cup game in another country. That country I'm open to.
Okay.
Just the World Cup game in another country.
Have you been to any here in the U.S.?
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not been to.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think next year, I believe.
That's awesome. Great. Just some fun questions to get to know.
Thank you.
Get to know you a little bit. All right, back to coaching. So, what's the most memorable soccer game you've ever coached?
There's been a few. I would say the one that really sticking out to me right now would be the Milford. It's always going to be probably a Milford game, I would say, for the most part. It's a good rivalry. I know their coach pretty well. I think this is 23, 2 years ago. In the conference, we were kind of mid-level in the conference. We really didn't have a shot. We played Milford toward the end of the season, but we already drew them in a tournament. So we had them 5 days later in a tournament. And so we did lose the regular season game. It was 1-0. It was a good game. But then we came back 5 days later and had to go to their place. And we won that game in overtime.
Nice.
On a goal. And I think watching the kids celebrate and how excited they were, I think that was probably one of the most memorable games in the recent years that I've had.
Yeah.
There's been a lot, but I think that would probably be the one that I remember the most.
What about as a player? Do you have a play that you could do over? What would that be?
Yeah, I would say, if I go back to, I'd go back probably to high school. I think it was my senior year. We were in a tournament. It was a tournament game. We went into PKs, and I had hurt my foot. It was my toe. I got stepped on or something, and I had to come out of the game. As a senior, I was one of the 5 who were chosen to take the penalty kicks in the first round. And I opted out because I just didn't feel like I was going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And the guy who took my place, unfortunately, did miss his kick.
Yeah.
And we ended up losing that game. So, when I talk about it with my friends to this day, I'm like, man, maybe I should have just jumped in there and taken that kick just to see.
Right. It's just a toe.
It's just a toe. But it was everything at that point in time. So I think that would be a game that I'd like to go back and maybe do over.
That's a good. Do you have a favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? I'm not a huge movie guy, and I don't know if it's just the fact that I have a hard time just sitting down and paying attention to something for several hours.
Right.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
What was the soccer movie in the 80s with Rocky? Or not Rocky, it was
No, I
Sylvester
remember
Stallone
that.
and
Yes.
Pele
was in it.
Man, that's a good movie.
That was a good movie, and I wish I could remember that off the top of my head, but I can't. But I would say, if anything, that would probably where I would be leading to, something a long time ago.
Who's the best soccer player you've ever coached or played against?
Again, that's a tough question. Because,
or if you have 2 answers.
I've seen a lot of good players come through that we have had.
Yeah.
Austin Clue is one from maybe 2011-ish, 2012-ish. Just a big boy, played center back, would run through a brick wall. He was a guy that, you could ask him to do anything defensively and he would do it. The Beachy boys, Tyler Beachy in particular, was a really good center mid to come through Loveland, very good player. I've had several. It's hard to name just one because there's been so many.
Right.
But, those are the ones that come to mind. And Austin actually had come back to help us coach several years ago, so it was really nice to have him back in the fold, and he did a great job. So that was kind of nice.
Nice. So thinking of Loveland, you've been here 17 years. You know, we've watched this school grow over the last 25 years to what we've built. What are some things that you wish Loveland High School had?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, I do feel that, you know, sometimes when I look around other facilities that I've been to, and I know that, you know, obviously money's an issue for sure, but just some. As a soccer guy, being at the turf all the time, and I'm sure this is true for anybody who plays at the turf, some room up there, some locker rooms, some storage space. But I think the most important thing for us would be to have a second turf field. Yeah. There's no doubt that we're falling behind there because so many other schools, not just in the ECC, but in Cincinnati period, have dual fields at least. Yeah. So practices, games, all of those things can take place on a daily basis to where we struggle. We struggle with real estate up there. Yeah. Sometimes it's a battle, sometimes it's not, but you know, if we could get another turf field, even if it was a practice field, even if it was a smaller space, just to have somewhere where, you know, football could go and practice, and we would have some space available for us to both practice at the same time. Right. So I think, you know, without a doubt, it would be another turf field.
Yeah, I remember last year watching, I think it was JV football games and watching the varsity girls warm up in the outfield of the baseball field.
Yes.
To get ready for a game.
Yes.
And it's like, in every school you go to, you know, they've got it, like Oak Hills. I don't know if you've been over there in the last 3 years. Oh, yeah, you just were there. Yeah. They've got that ancillary field to the left, which has no seats, or maybe it does have a few, but it's just a practice
It's just
field.
a practice field.
And it's like, we got that awesome green grass area on the other side of the parking lot, and that's something I think the community needs to rally around. I mean, forget levies, forget everything else.
Yes.
We have to look into that.
I agree. I think that's the one thing that probably hampers us a bit, because, you know, we have kids that will look at our facilities and maybe choose someplace else to go. Right. We do lose players.
We do.
We lose good players.
No doubt.
And I think if something could change there, it would at least be a positive influence on some of the decisions that were made, as opposed to going to Moeller or St. X or somewhere like that we could keep some of these kids here. Right.
No, I agree. We're getting there. I mean, we're the best part about Loveland is also can be a hindrance to us. With, you know, things going on and whatnot, but it's a desirable place to live, and we want to make it a desirable place for student athletes to attend. So I agree. Cool. Talk a little bit about the team. Higher level first. What is your coaching philosophy?
I think when it comes to my philosophy, you know, want to win. But on the flip side of that, you know, I just want to make sure that the kids are understanding that win, lose, or draw, we do it in a classy way. Yeah. We're good sportsmen. Sportsmanship is definitely a positive for me. So I do put that as my first and foremost. Some would argue that, you know, maybe that gets in the way of winning. I don't believe that it does, because as we know in life, it's not always about winning and losing. It's more about handling adversity. And so, you know, as far as a philosophy goes, I just look at it as something, as a positive experience, a win, lose, or draw, that we can learn from that.
Nice. Good. Do you have any 2025 team goals?
We do. You know, we want to win the ECC. Right. We do this year. You know, I think it's a team goal every year that we step on the pitch. You know, we had a good run at the end of, you know, 2018, 19, and 20. We had some really good teams. We were able to win conference titles those 3 years. It's been a little dry since then. Yep. But I think that's our first and foremost goal, is to win the ECC. Now, from that, you know, dropping into Division II has been, in my opinion, something really good for us in Loveland. Yeah. we're not a Mason. We're never going to be a St. X or Moeller. So for me at soccer, trying to compete with that level has always been difficult. Now we're in a situation where the light is at the end of the tunnel. Division II have teams that we can compete with, and I think our goal for this year is to make it to a state final, which we'll say every year. Now, the reality of that sometimes it struggles with, but the possibilities are certainly there. So I think that's our end all goals is to make a state final.
Yeah, it's definitely the right thing to do. I mean, I always talk about the wimpification of America and everybody gets a trophy. I think this situation is totally different where OSHA did the right thing.
Yeah.
Because the 2017, was that when the girls won state?
2017, yes.
2017. And that was just such a unique thing to have happen.
It was.
But there's so many other great sports teams that don't get that chance because you get to the second round of the playoffs and you face a big boy or a big girl team with girls soccer or girls basketball. And you look at some of these teams we've had, and then you look at this reorganization. Baseball won districts this year.
Yeah.
Basketball for boys won districts this year, and they had very good teams that were rewarded at the end of the year for where they went. Why should we have to face a triple the size school in the second, third round of the playoffs just because we're in the same league?
Correct.
So I'm so excited that it's happened for
the Centervilles, the Worthington, Kilbourne. I mean, those are some really big schools. I mean, quantity matters because within quantity you're going to find quality. And, when you don't have that much to choose from, you are at a disadvantage.
Well, the ECC is 10 teams, and half of them are Division I.
That's correct.
And it's like, so you're getting great competition that's helping you for the playoffs. And a few years ago when football had that great run, football was Division II.
They were.
They would have never sniffed the Final Four in Division I, but in Division II they had a chance.
Correct.
And then once you get there, you get lucky and you see how things work.
And I like you said, I think we've seen that be advantageous to us just over the course of the last year that we've been in Division II.
Right.
Like you mentioned, the teams who've gone on to do very well in the tournament, and that's our goal. I think we can do that.
Awesome. Well, one thing I know that's important to you, you've been doing it for a while, is your preseason trip to Strongsville.
Yes.
How long have you been doing that?
This was, I think, our 14th year maybe going up to Strongsville. I like Strongsville because number one, it's a good team building event to be able to get out of town, let the kids stay in the hotel, go in the mall, do their swimming, hang out at the pool, do all those things.
Bowling. I think bowling was the activity this year.
Bowling was the activity for this year. So it's a good team building experience. And number two, you're not playing teams from here. And I think that's important for us too, to be able to get a look at different teams around, not just the state, but several states who attend this particular showcase.
How many are there?
Usually, anywhere between 50 to 80 teams usually go to Strongsville. It's a showcase. It's a big coaches showcase type event. And we play all different levels of teams. But it's good, again, like I said, to not necessarily face a team that we may see somewhere down the road here in town, but see a different style or level of play, and to get acclimated with that. So
I'm friends with a handful of soccer parents, and they said this year it was, how many games did you play? 5?
We played 7. But they weren't full games. They were halves, which is either way.
But it was, somebody told me, I think it was, I can't remember, but it was like, the way your 7 games went, it was like you graduated, you played tougher competition, almost coincidentally how it went. And then at the end, it was like you were playing a stud team.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely kind of coasted in the first couple days, but then things stepped up at the end, and that's good for us. That's the competition that we're going to be seeing here. And so I think there was a little reality check there that said, okay, we scored some goals early on in this tournament, but now we're facing some boys that, are good.
Now, was that coincidental, or is that the way that showcase is structured?
No,
so
I think
you were 5-0, so they bumped you to play a better team, or is it just coincidence?
I think it was just coincidental the way it all kind of worked
out.
They tried to. They had a format that they kind of quit 2 or 3 years ago, but they had a tournament style structure set up. In other words, you played your 5 or 7 games, and then the first couple teams of the conference would move on into the semifinals and the finals. I like that just because you knew you were playing for something. You were playing for a trophy, and I think that was good for the kids. They've since discontinued that, which again, it's fine, but I always felt like getting in there and saying, okay, we're playing for a trophy. Let's get in, even preseason or not.
Right.
You're dangling something,
right.
And how are we going to respond to that?
Yeah, but you as a coach, I'm sure in a preseason showcase, you're trying to decide who's going to play what position or what rotation.
Oh, yes.
And it's like, okay, let's not lose sight of going for this trophy. Let's focus on what we're doing to set up for the ECC season and
Correct.
The playoff run.
I mean, you're always seeing everybody play, so you're in and out. You sometimes, because again, we haven't made cuts, so you're looking at 24, 27 kids on a roster that you're trying to get in and out. So there's a lot of variability with that.
Right.
But at the same time, you're also looking to see how these kids handle those certain situations.
Right.
To make decisions later on down the road.
Yeah, I'm sure that's tough. I mean, soccer being a cut sport, like a lot of our sports, it's tough to swallow that, especially going back to the conversation we started. So many travel teams out there, mommy and daddy think that kids should be on a team because they've been paying X dollars for all these years to be on a team, and now reality hits. I always say high school sports is a great equalizer.
It is, and you're 100% correct.
Yeah. Cool. Anything to add about the boys and your upcoming 25 season?
Yeah, I feel like, once again, I've got a great group of kids. I got a great group of kids who are coachable. I feel like this year's team definitely comes in experienced. I say that because a lot of these kids got thrown into games last year where, sophomores, juniors got a lot of playing time.
Yeah.
And seeing those guys return this year, just the fact that they have played varsity, understand the way the varsity game is played, is a huge advantage to not only them, but us as a team.
Yeah.
So I do have pretty high expectations for the way things are going to hopefully sort out this year.
And what about the ECC? What's it looking like as far as who's at the top?
It's kind of an unknown. I do know that there's Turpin who won the ECC last year, and again, they're not Division I, they're not Division II, they're Division III.
Right.
So I think the parity within our conference is good. Turpin's a team who's returning quite a few guys who are once again good. Anderson's always going to be good.
Yep.
Milford is Milford.
Right.
And you add in Little Miami. And Little Miami, I mean, years and years ago, Josh, we'd go over to Little Miami and be like, okay, it's going to be a game off.
Right.
We're just going to go and win the 6-0 and come home.
Right.
Little Miami's grown into a big district. And again, like I said before, quantity is going to give you some quality. And Little Miami's come a long way. So every team in our conference is a competitive match. And that keeps us on our toes. You can't take a night off.
Right.
You just can't.
Yeah. So Cincinnati wants to talk about the private schools first, the GMC second, and then you look at the ECC and you're like, guys, this is got to be one of the best mixed Division I, Division II leagues in the state.
There's no doubt about it.
You look at Anderson in football, how good they are. Winton Woods in football, how good they are. You said Turpin, they're D2, but man,
D3.
They're D3. That's right. So they'd hang with anybody in D1, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Baseball. Look at what Coach Terry's doing when he's going up and beating Mason and beating Lakota West and competing against Moeller. It's phenomenal.
Well, it's good for the mentality. It's good for the kids to be able to see that they can compete with anybody here in Loveland. You can.
Well, cool. Well, 17 years of coaching here. It's not just about you. You got a good background, assistants, got staff behind you that have been here a while?
Yeah, I feel like I've always been fortunate to have really good assistants, and I lean on them a lot. Trying to make these decisions by yourself is pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
And so now I've got Chris Fry as my assistant, who is a counselor. I think he's in his third year. It's fantastic. I would say that, and I've had good ones. He's probably one of my better in terms of his leadership qualities, the role model that he is, the respect that he has from the kids, and how much time he actually puts into doing the coaching part. A lot of assistant coaches will just come in and be like, okay, coach, tell me what you want to do.
Yeah.
I let Chris lead, and Chris leads well. He can take over a practice anytime I need him to. Our JV coach this year is Matt Nolan. Matt was a former player of mine. He was a goalkeeper, and then some injuries turned him into a field player, but he knows the game very well. Younger kid, younger guy, I should say, still relates very well with those guys. And I'm looking forward to working with him. And I think one of the things that I enjoy more than anything else is just sort of, I've been doing it a while. I'm not saying that I know everything, because you don't.
Right.
But being able to mentor a little bit and help some of these guys develop their coaching skills and qualities, so that maybe if this is what they want to do, they can move on to other jobs and other positions later on down the road. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of that too. So I do take pride in that, knowing that I can help in some way, shape, or form to these other coaches.
That's awesome. There's a reason why you've been here for 17 years doing it, because of that attitude. So thanks. Well, great. Anything else you want to add?
I mean, not particularly. I just, again, if you're a soccer fan in any way, shape, or form, it'd be nice to see you come out to some games if you can make it. Check our schedule on the ECC website. We've got great players. They interact with the younger kids very well. We have a youth night. So I think if you're a part of the community and you're interested in that at all whatsoever, be a part of the community. Come on out.
We got some super cool new LED lights up at the
stadium.
We do. That's going to be a new experience.
They turned those on in practice the other day, and they were testing them all out, and all the players were like, oh, wow, look at that. I'm like, we're focused on practice.
Right.
The lights are great.
We're
focused on practice.
Bugs
exactly.
looking at the light.
Squirrel,
right?
squirrel.
That was a nice added touch, because you go to some of these other schools. And the lights are unbelievable. So it's nice to see those.
It is. It's fantastic. It's a great upgrade. We've seen quite a few upgrades this year to our facilities, which again, it helps. It helps a lot.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining, and more importantly, thanks for 25 years of teaching, or 27 years of teaching, right?
Yeah, right about that.
17 years of coaching at Loveland, and everything you do for our student athletes, our community, and best of luck this year and trying to win the ECC.
Well, Josh, I appreciate you sitting down with me. It's been nice.
You bet, man. Great getting to know you.
Thank you.
You bet. This episode was sponsored by Cappy's Wine and Spirits in downtown Loveland. Tap room, bottle shop, meeting place, great music, gift ideas, and just a traditional watering hole. We have wine and grilled cheese night coming up, volleyball and soccer fundraisers, and numerous bands to go out and enjoy in our soon-to-be cool summer, autumn nights. I hope you enjoyed my sit-down with Coach Dunlap. Good luck, boys, this fall as we fight to win the ECC. Peace.